welcome to Big Papa Rob's podcast Story Rewind. I'm Big Papa Rob. Here I rewind the story of a person, place, or thing and tell you where it originated from. This podcast will feature something new called The Missing. The story I will tell you today is about Layla Santanello, who was age 20 when she went missing on June 27, 2023, from Kingsport, Tennessee. As I always say, let's rewind this story to its earliest beginnings. Layla Marie Santanello was born in New Jersey, August 5, 2002. Layla was born to Jennifer Santanello and her father George Emmett. Layla has a 2-year-old daughter at the time she went missing, but it appears that her daughter was living with her mother Jennifer at the time. I tried to reach out to Jennifer through her TikTok account to get more information on Layla's backstory, but unfortunately didn't get a response. TikTok is how I learned of this case from Jennifer's story of Layla appearing on my For You section. From what I have gathered, Layla met her boyfriend Michael around the time or at least the same year as her daughter was born, because reports have them being together for 2 years. According to the information I found from both Layla's father and mother's interviews, it would appear that Michael was a bad influence for Layla. But as you know, when you fall in love, you don't necessarily see the bad in them. Michael was into drugs, and within a year and a half of this relationship, Layla started distancing herself from her family and friends and hanging out more and more with the bad influences of Michael and his group of people. At one point, Layla lived in a trailer that her grandmother owned, and the boyfriend lived with her. At some point, something happened, and Layla and the boyfriend was kicked out of the trailer, so she went and stayed with her boyfriend and some of his family. It appears the days leading up to her disappearance, she may have been crashing at a few different friends' places. It's reported that Jennifer, Layla's mother, was also seeking custody of Layla's daughter, and there was a hearing coming up within days of Layla going missing. I couldn't find any dates to know how accurate or how close to Layla's disappearance this court date really was. Sometime in March of 2023, Michael was arrested on drug charges and had Layla's phone with him at the time, and her phone was confiscated by the police at the time of his arrest. So Layla didn't actually have a phone of her own at the time she went missing. Up to that point, she shared a phone with Michael or would borrow friends' phones to make contact with family and such. According to an interview done by the father and stepmother, they didn't know at the time she went missing that she didn't have her phone. They lived in another state, and Layla would communicate with them through Facebook Messenger. On June 24th, Layla's mother Jennifer received messages from Layla's Messenger account from Michael asking if Layla was in jail or something. Jennifer sent several questions back to Michael in regards and was somewhat concerned. In the early morning hours of June 25th, Jennifer received more messages, but this time felt confident it was from Layla. She stated that she was at a friend's house and that she loved her and would call her mother later. Layla had used a friend's phone to log into her Facebook account. Jennifer didn't push for more information, assuming that Layla and Michael had a falling out, and that was why she wasn't with Michael. She also knew Michael had access and would see any conversations. June 26th, Michael messaged Jennifer through Layla's Messenger account again, asking if she knew where Layla was, stating he hadn't seen her since 4 a.m. on the 25th and that she was supposed to be at a friend's house, and the friend stated that Layla went out for a smoke and didn't return. Jennifer told him that Layla had messaged her on the 24th that she was with friends. At some point late on the 26th, Jennifer reached out to Layla's father, George, and stepmother, Brittany, to see if they had heard from her. According to George, he said they should call the police to report her missing. But at the time, Jennifer wasn't concerned yet because Layla has taken off before for a few days and always showed back up. George felt like they needed to go ahead and contact the police, and Jennifer said, "Do what you think is best." George then reaches out to the Kingsport, Tennessee Police Department to report Layla missing. When he does this, there are some incorrect descriptor details he got wrong due to minor hair changes and weight since he had last seen her. According to George, the last time he actually spoke with Layla was on the 24th, and Jennifer spoke with her on the 23rd. Initial reports had Layla at the AmeriCorps Hotel in Kingsport with friends on the 26th. Layla's father, in an interview, stated that employees of the hotel told her to leave the property and they were going to call the police. According to witnesses, she was banging on several doors trying to find a place to hide. Her father says that Layla believed that she had warrants out for her arrest and she was trying to find a place to hide from the police threat. At the time, Layla was wearing a white tank top, black leggings, and no shoes. It appears that Layla left the hotel going through the woods next to the hotel into a nearby field that led to the Greenbelt Trail. There were reports that she may have slept in the woods or the field the night of the 26th. Around noon on the 27th, Layla was seen leaving the trail area, disheveled and stumbling around. Not sure if this sighting indicates that she was coming off of a high or not. If she followed the Greenbelt from the hotel to the back side of the shopping center, she would have traveled about a mile. She was last seen at the Marble Slab Creamery. It's reported that a worker at the creamery offered her some nourishment and that she looked in bad shape. According to this conversation, the employee stated that she was still wearing a white tank top, black leggings, and no shoes. Layla told this person that she was going to the Five Below store in the same shopping center to get some flip-flops. Unfortunately, this was the last time she was seen. Investigators stated that she never showed up to the Five Below store. A Holly Bobo alert was issued for her, which is an endangered young adult alert for the state of Tennessee. It's not believed that she just up and left to start a new life, even though she did make a Facebook post in October of 2022 that she just wanted to leave and start over. But how many of us have not felt that way and may have made a post like that? I don't believe this is an indicator that she just took off. August 6th, which was Layla's 21st birthday, came and went without any contact. The family feels strongly, even if she had left on her own, she would have reached out to them. Her father talked about in an interview that he always gave her money for her birthday and had hoped she would reach out and make contact with him for the birthday money. August 16th, a joint agency search of the Greenbelt Trail area was done across 320 acres with 100 volunteers that unfortunately didn't reveal any evidence or information for the case. At the time Layla went missing, she was known to be using drugs. There's been some online speculation that she may have OD'd, but if that were the case, you would think the body would have shown up by now. Other speculations was that she could have been taken in regards to sex trafficking, because that part of the state has a high rate of sex trafficking going on. As of this podcast, there is no evidence that this has happened to her. Michael, the boyfriend, has done several things that have made law enforcement and family suspect him. As we talked about before, he's a known drug user. He also appears to have made Cash App requests to Layla's stepmother, making it appear that Layla was requesting the money. He's acted very suspicious at the very beginning of all this. There were rumors that due to Michael's drug connection, that Layla may have been kidnapped for a drug debt, but there's no evidence of this actually being true. The police have investigated him, and he supposedly has passed a lie detector test. Anyone that follows true crime knows that lie detector tests are not admissible in court and are not 100% reliable, but it is a tool that law enforcement will use as part of an investigation. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, also known as the TBI, has also been involved in this case, along with the local Kingsport police. The family has raised money to hire a private investigator, and with all these agencies, no other real evidence have been found in her disappearance. Layla's mother, Jennifer, took to social media to spread the word of Layla's disappearance. I found that she started her post to TikTok starting August 1st. Both families have Facebook pages dedicated to finding Layla. They can be found in my show notes. I believe both families also have a GoFundMe account set up to cover costs for the private investigator and travel expenses. The family has a $2,000 reward for any information leading to Layla's being found. According to Layla's mother's Facebook page, there was a fan that thought they saw Layla at one of the tattoo shops in Putnam County, Tennessee. Once that was investigated, it turned out to be somebody who just looked very much like her. As of the time of this podcast, there's been no more news in regards to this case. The last news report I found was September 19th. Let's talk about Layla Santanello's description again. She was age 20 when she went missing on June 27, 2023. She turned 21 in August. She was last seen wearing a white tank top, black leggings, and no shoes. Layla has at least 3 tattoos, one being a predominant one on her left forearm that says Nova Grace. Another one with Roman numerals on her collarbone. And one more described as a dream catcher on the inside of her right arm. When she was last seen, her hair was bleach blonde with dark roots showing. Layla is 4 foot 10 inches tall and 135 pounds. If you have any information about Layla's disappearance, please contact Kingsport Police Department Detective Bill Clare at 423-343-9780 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. There's also an anonymous tip line that has been set up at 423-281-4041. As I said in the beginning of this podcast, doing a missing person story is the first for this podcast. If you would like for me to do more missing person podcasts, please let me know. I can be found on almost all social media by searching Big Papa Rob Podcast. You know you've found the right place if you see my face with me wearing a black top hat. I tell my stories in hopes that you will gain a deeper understanding of historical origins of many things and the lives of people that you may not know their stories. Once again, I'm Big Papa Rob, and this was an independent podcast called Story Rewind. Story Rewind is written and produced and edited by Big Papa Rob. For a donation to help me cover my operating costs, you can buy me a cup of coffee. You can find the link in the show notes or on my social media pages. Your support would be greatly appreciated. I would appreciate a 5-star rating if you listen to my podcast through Apple Podcasts. And finally, if you have a story idea, please contact me through my social media. A link to my social media accounts is listed in the show notes. I would love to hear from you. Today's music was The Shield by Hot Dope from Pixabay. This was a Big Papa Rob podcast 2023. See the show notes for links to the reference material used in this podcast.